New York State Racing Parimutuel Wagering Breeding Law Section 102 provides that the New York State Gaming Commission shall consist of 7 members appointed by the governor by and with the advice and consent of the Senate. 4 members confirmed by the New York State Senate are necessary to afford the commission the ability to establish a quorum and undertake action. This present meeting of the commission is now called to order. Ms. Secretary, please call the roll.
Here.
Ms. Secretary, please call the roll.
John Crotty.
Here.
Peter Machete.
Here.
John Paclemba.
Here.
Barry Sample.
Here.
Jerry Skurnick.
Here.
Todd Snyder.
Here.
Ms. Secretary, please have the record reflect that a quorum of qualified members is present, just enabling transaction of business. Chairman Sample.
Minutes of the commission meeting conducted on March 26, 2018 have been provided to the members in advance. At this time, I'd like to ask members if there are any edits, corrections, or amendments. No? May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the acting executive director's report. Ron?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to address 2 items. First, to touch upon the United States Supreme Court's decision in Murphy v. NCAA regarding sports betting, and second, the upcoming Belmont Stakes. As I am certain you are all aware, this past week the Supreme Court ruled that provisions of the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act violated constitutional principles limiting the federal government from fulfilling state policy by unconstitutionally forcing states to prohibit sports betting under their own laws. As we have previously discussed, New York law contains a sports wagering provision that can become effective upon a ruling of a court of competent jurisdiction that such activity is lawful. The Supreme Court's decision appears to have triggered this provision. As a side note, Commission staff have long been working on regulations that would effectuate sports gambling under the existing statutory language. Staff anticipates being able to provide a draft for your review in the near term. With respect to the Belmont Stakes, I'm certain you are all aware the race is scheduled to be conducted on June 9th at Belmont Park. With Justify's victory in the Preakness Stakes on Saturday, the Belmont will host the 35th horse attempting to become a Triple Crown winner. Justify has New York connections. The partnership that owns the horse includes Heads of Plains Partners and Starlight Racing. Starlight Racing is operated by Saratoga Springs resident Jack and Lori Wolf, while Heads of Plains Partner is operated by New York City's Sol Colum. In addition to the possibility of the 13th Triple Crown being won, the Belmont Stakes Day card includes perhaps the best day of racing outside of the Breeders' Cup. No less than 9 Grade Stake races will be contested, including 6 Grade 1s and 3 Grade 2 races. The Grade 1 races are the Acorn, the 150 running up the Belmont Stakes, the Longines Just a Game, the Ogden Phipps, the Run Happy Metropolitan Handicap, and the Wolford Reserve Manhattan Handicap. The Grade 2 races are the Brooklyn Invitational, the Yapur Invitational, and the Woody Stevens presented by Mohegan Sun. 3 of the Grade 1 races, the Belmont, Metropolitan, and Manhattan, have purses of at least $1 million, which triggers the Commission's additional security protocols, which include a dedicated horse watch, out-of-competition blood sampling, treatment monitoring, and daily posting of veterinarian records. Thank you.
Okay, and we have 2 rule-making items for today. New York State Racing, Parimutuel Wagering, and Breeding Law authorizes the Commission to promulgate rules and regulations that it deems necessary to carry out its responsibilities. In that regard, the Commission from time to time will promulgate rules and amendments pursuant to the State Administrative Procedure Act. We have 2 items for consideration today. Ron, will you please outline the items?
Yes, sir. For Commission consideration are proposed amendments to previously considered casino licensing regulations. These proposed amendments follow the close of the public comment period, wherein Rivers Casino and Resort suggested several refinements. Staff evaluated the Rivers comments and agreed with several but not all. Specifically, Rivers suggested the addition of a subdivision D to Rule 5306.3 to state that the Commission has discretion to not perform a background check of a non-gaming employee if fingerprint results do not disclose any criminal history. As no statute or regulation requires a full background check of a non-gaming employee, Commission staff agrees with the Rivers suggestion. This proposed change would be consistent with Commission discretion and would make licensing of non-gaming employees more efficient and cost-effective. Rivers also suggested expansion to the list of providers that are not required to be licensed or registered as a vendor to include nurses, emergency medical technicians, and other medical providers, mail carriers, delivery service providers, online booking agents, and non-gaming publicly traded companies. Commission staff agree with Rivers' suggestion regarding nurses, emergency medical technicians, and other medical providers, mail carriers, delivery service providers, and online booking agents, but disagree with adding non-gaming publicly traded companies to the exempted list. Rivers also suggested that proposed Rule 5307.5E be amended to require that an employee of a vendor registration only complete a service provider form rather than a non-gaming employee registration application. While Commission staff agree that a full background check may not be necessary for each non-gaming employee registration applicant, staff believes a criminal history fingerprint review should be required. Accordingly, Commission staff recommends the proposed rule be revised to indicate same. If a revision is authorized, this rulemaking proposal will be published and a new 30-day public comment period will open. Staff recommends that the Commission authorize the revised proposal of this rulemaking.
Do we have any questions, concerns about the proposal? None? May I have a motion for the proposed
So
rule?
moved. So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. You have a rule on
Charitable
charitable
gaming.
gaming?
For Commission consideration are proposed rule changes to implement various provisions of recent charitable gaming legislation and to update various charitable gaming regulations. If you recall, Part MM of Chapter 59 of the laws of 2017 made various charitable gaming reforms addressing prize limits, raffle tickets, process, and advertising. Another statute, Chapter 464 of the laws of 2017, addressed changes to purchasing of raffle tickets. The proposed rules address these legislative changes and make other stylistic edits to conform charitable gaming regulation to the amended statutes and other Commission regulation. Staff recommends that the Commission authorize the proposal of this rulemaking.
Any questions on the proposal? May I have a motion on the rule?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item for scheduled business regards adjudications. Today we have five items for adjudication. I'm sorry. Ron?
On October 28, 2016, Brandon Charlery claimed a horse at Belmont Park in his own name as claimant and owner. Stewart Review determined that Mr. Charlery, in fact, made the claim on behalf of others who were ineligible to make such claim, resulting in the state steward issuing a $3,000 fine and suspending Mr. Charlery's license for 60 days. Given the gravity of the offense, the stewards referred the matter to the Commission's main office for further review and action. Following investigation, the Commission charged Mr. Charlery with committing an improper, corrupt, and fraud act and practice in relation to racing and committing and attempting to commit fraud and misrepresentation with racing in violation of various rules. Mr. Charlery requested a hearing, which was conducted on March 15, 2018. A hearing officer submitted a report dated May 9, 2018, recommending that Mr. Charlery's license as an assistant trainer, and owner be revoked, and that he be ineligible to reapply for a period of at least 2 years. The Commission considered this matter at a meeting conducted pursuant to judicial or quasi-judicial proceedings exemption of New York Public Officers Law, Section 108.1.
The Commission duly deliberated and considered this matter and determined upon a 6-0 vote to modify the hearing officer's report and recommendations. Next item.
On January 28, 2018, the Bureau of Licensing denied the applicant of James White for a non-gaming employee registration as an environmental services attendant at Resorts World Catskill, citing Commission Rule 5306.2b, which refers to the standards set forth in New York Racing Pari-Mutuel Wagering Breeding Law, Section 1318. Mr. White requested a hearing, which was conducted on March 6, 2018. The hearing officer submitted a report dated April 4, 2018, recommending that the applicant's registration denial be upheld. The Commission considered this matter at a meeting conducted pursuant to the judicial or quasi-judicial proceeding exemption of New York Public Officers Law 108.1.
The commission duly deliberated and considered this matter and determined upon a 6-0 vote to sustain the hearings officer's report and recommendations.
On October 20th, 2017, the Bureau of License denied the application of Nicholas Zutfeld for a license as a thoroughbred groom, citing that his experience, character, and general fitness are such that his participation in racing or related activity would be inconsistent with the public interest, convenience, or necessity, or with the best interests of racing generally. During pendency of his application, Mr. Zutfeld also failed a drug test. Finally, on August 26, 2017, Mr. Zutfeld signed a voluntary agreement to surrender his valid receipt, undergo substance abuse counseling, and agree not to be present at the racetrack other than at the living quarters until he provided verification from the drug treatment program that he was fit to perform duties at the racetrack. Mr. Zutfeld was subsequently found within a barn at Finger Lakes track premises in violation of his voluntary agreement. Mr. Zutfeld requested a hearing in regard to the license denial. The hearing officer submitted a report dated March 2nd, 2018, recommending that the applicant be deemed suspended from August 26, 2017 through the date of the hearing, and upon submission of satisfactory proof of completion of a drug treatment program and the passing of a drug test, that his license be restored. The Commission considered this matter at a meeting conducted pursuant to the judicial and quasi-judicial proceedings exemption of New York Public Officers Law 108.1.
The commission duly deliberated and considered this matter and it determined upon a 6-0 vote to modify the hearing officer's report and recommendations. Next item.
Given common personnel of the two licensees and the related nature of the matter in each case, I ask permission to present both matters together.
Please proceed.
On September 29, 2017, the Bureau of Licensing issued 2 notices of license suspensions and ordered the immediate temporary suspension of 2 lottery sales agent licenses, Hathara Food Market, Inc., and City Max Market, both located in Buffalo. The notice informed each entity that the suspension was for fraud, deceit, misrepresentation, or conduct prejudicial to public confidence in the state lottery. Specifically, the notices indicated that personnel in each store had participating in discounting of winning lottery tickets presented for payment and made misleading statements to commission security personnel. In addition, the Bureau of Licensing issued a second notice of license suspension to Hathara on October 12, 2017 on the grounds that the license had outstanding state taxation liability. Hathara and City Max requested a hearing in regard to the suspensions. The hearing officer submitted a report dated April 12, 2018, recommending that each entity's license be revoked and that the period from the date of suspension to the Commission's final determination be the term of license suspension. The Commission considered this matter at a meeting conducted pursuant to judicial quasi-judicial proceedings exemption of New York Public Officers Law, Section 108.1.
The Commission duly deliberated and considered this matter and determined upon a 6-0 vote to sustain the hearings officer's report and recommendations. Do we have any old business? Hearing none. Do we have any new business? No? We need to work with Kristen on the scheduling of our next meeting. Do we want to take your issue up, or whether we want to go on the record with the modification that we made?
My only concern is we have no record of that other than someone writing it down, right, and then relating to it, because I think normally don't we put the modification on the record? That was my recollection. And I'm talking about the Brandon show.
I think we did put it on the record.
Mr. Chairman, I'm
Correct.
perfectly happy to put it on the record. with the
Okay,
modification.
so can someone give me a modification that we put on the record?
Subject to the Commissioner's ratification, my understanding of the modification is that the original fine of the stewards in the amount of $3,000 would be imposed, that all licenses from the Gaming Commission of Mr. Charlery would be revoked, and that he would not be permitted to reapply for a period of 3 years.
Can we have that in the form of a motion? Someone,
So moved.
second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, my mistake. We probably should have
Yeah.
done that when we went through it.
Would you like to do it for the matter of Zufelt as well?
If we could, yep, to be consistent. Thank you.
To be consistent, my understanding is that the commissioners have modified the hearing officer's report in the matter of Nicholas Zufelt to instead state that the denial of Mr. Zufelt's license is upheld and that he be permitted to apply anew for a license from the commission, subject to his submitting adequate proof of completion of an appropriate drug testing counseling program.
Right.
Okay, can we consider that in the form of a motion?
So moved.
I'm sorry.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Did you have?
Nope. Good.
Hand up? Okay. We're going to work with, the tentative date for our next meeting is the 25th of June.
Mr. Chairman, I have a conflict on
As,
that.
as do I, actually. Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
so Kristen will work with all of us to reschedule our June meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
Hopefully we'll have a Triple Crown winner again. No? All things are possible, I guess, at this point.
We're supposed to take sides?
I'm rooting for it.
Good for the sport.
Yeah.
With no other comments, I will conclude our public agenda for the day. We still need to go back into executive session briefly, if you don't mind, okay? Thank you.